When Pokémon Legends ZA was announced, the internet was taken by absolute confusion, as nobody was expecting that to be the next entry for a Pokemon game. People were expecting something like a Johto game or a Unova game, but nothing to do with Kalos. But ultimately, here we are, with Pokémon Legends ZA scheduled for 2025. And along with that announcement, we got a basic summarization of what we can expect to see from the game. A game that's going to be taking place all within Lumiose City, which was also a very big shock to some people. At first, people were upset being like, how can you make a game set only in Lumiose City? But then people started to realize how this could actually be a pretty awesome and creative choice for Game Freak to do. But regardless, nobody was expecting it to be a Kalos game, or if they were, nobody was expecting it to be what we got, because I can sure as hell tell you that I was not expecting that, because I had actually sat down and thought about what a Legends Kalos game could have looked like. I've talked about this with some of my friends and theorized about it, and they generally all like the idea. So today I'm gonna tell you all about what I thought could have potentially been Pokemon Legends Kalos. And before I get into the story, I want to real quickly state I fully understand how dark of a telling this game could potentially be, and I understand that this is absolutely nothing that Pokemon would ever do, considering that it's a kid's game. So buckle in, sit down, grab your Lumiose Gillettes, and let's get into the video. The setting of this game would take place in Kalos 3,000 years ago. Now, you already may have an idea as to where I'm going with this, as I'm sure a lot of people have thought of this initial idea, but I don't think anybody's actually ever fully thought through of the plot of what could happen for a Legends Kalos game. Yes, this game will be taking place throughout the war, but that's what's going to make it interesting, throughout the war. And who you are specifically as a person is going to play an integral part of telling this story, because you are going to be playing as none other than AZ's best friend. You and AZ are best buddies, coming from the same hometown and just ended up growing up next to each other, playing all the time, going outside in the forest, fields, doing whatever you guys could do to honestly entertain yourselves. And so one day you and AZ decided, hey, let's do something a little more dangerous now, because we're more grown up than we were when we were kids. So let's give this a shot and let's go into the back end of the woods, which would be speculated to be a very, very not safe area of the woods. As you're making your way into these dangerous woods, you two accidentally get separated, but you bump into whoever the professor would be for this game. And the professor says, what are you doing here, kid? Don't you know this is the dangerous part of the woods? You're not supposed to be out here. I'm conducting research. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just take one of these Pokemon and keep yourself safe. Wait, you have a friend here as well? Oh my god, well, we gotta go find him. Once you do find him, however, you see that he is being protected by a little flower Pokemon, Floette. Once you find your friend, you're gonna run right on in with your starter Pokemon and help him fight off whatever it is that is attacking him. It could be whatever, maybe regional form, or it could just be a regular old Pokemon. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the professor is gonna see how well you two are connected to your Pokemon and is gonna actually let you keep your starter, and the professor is gonna give AZ a Pokeball to catch that Floette. And from that point on, the professor recommends you go around the region and actually try to become strong trainers, because he sees a potential in you that he doesn't see around every day. And so with that being said, you two set off on your journey. Right at the start of your guys' journey, you two decide to stick with each other, kind of like how Ash does with all of his friends in the Pokemon anime. The reason why you guys decide to do this is because you guys have been best friends since childhood and actually want to stick with each other and watch each other get stronger throughout your guys' journey, as you guys have always wanted a taste of adventure and now you guys are finally getting it. Now, throughout the early middle section of this game, I really don't have a lot of important details I think you could throw in off the top of my head, but one important detail that is absolutely necessary for later, and we'll get to it, is the fact that wherever you guys go, however many battles you fight, you are constantly being told by others, hey, you guys are like really good at battling. Probably some of the best battlers I've ever seen in this region alone. So you guys start to build a little bit of a reputation for yourself and start to climb your way up the ranks in terms of popularity, I guess you could say. Regardless, by the end of the middle section of this game, you guys are well-known trainers. And the reason why I say by the end of the middle section is because, along with being praised by everybody throughout the region, you hear little murmurs about you guys might actually get enlisted. And of course, you two being younger teenagers, soldiers. You guys don't exactly understand what they're talking about, but you keep hearing murmurs about being enlisted, and stuff like that. And it isn't until you get to maybe the next town over that you hear of an incident that happened in your guys' hometown. You guys immediately rush over to make sure everything's okay, and once you get there, you find the professor arriving at the exact same time. You're asking him, hey, what the heck's going on? Why is there like bad news? And he's like, I don't know. I'm honestly here to check it out, so let's go and see. You walk in and it looks like the town has been hit by some Pokemon. This is where things start to take a dark turn that normal Pokemon games just would not do. But we're gonna continue because I genuinely think this is potentially one of the best stories a Pokemon game could have. Continuing on, you all quickly realize that your hometown was attacked, and not purely by accident, not by two random Pokemon just having one intense battle. This was deliberate. This was on purpose. And so you guys ask the professor again, what the heck is going on? The professor simply says to you, look, I didn't want to tell you guys this, but the neighboring region has been threatening us with war, and I'm pretty sure that this is their declaration. We're going to war. Now, this is where the game starts to take a rather dark turn, because immediately you can notice some change in AZ. You can't tell exactly what it is, but the moment the professor says we're going to war, AZ, without hesitation, goes, I am ready to fight in this war and do my part. I will do whatever it takes to win. This is my home and I will fight for it. And once you look over at him saying that, you notice a determination in his eyes that you have never seen before, one that almost worries you. And it is real quickly that players of this game will realize this is not your story. This is the story of the rise and dramatic fall of AZ. Now, already a question some people may be having with the story so far is that why does AZ come from a regular town? Why wasn't AZ some like royal lineage, and how does this random kid, aka you, know AZ? I have a pretty fun and very, very interesting twist on the whole idea of him being a king. Since it is only stated that AZ was a king, it was never stated that he was a king because he comes from a royal family. I thought it would be a very, very fun Pokemon twist to have AZ become the king throughout the war, only due to how well of a battler he is. Basically, this would be the equivalent of what the old day champion was, because in modern Kalos, we don't hear anything of a king. So basically, they took this champion role and just gave it the title of king. Hell, let's have fun with this idea. Let's say that the old day version of a champion, aka a king, or at least in Kalos, is what actually starts the whole idea of a champion throughout all the regions. Some line or dialogue in the game that basically states that, hey, this was kind of a thing that we started and that other people kind of just adopted. And they wouldn't say it like that because it would break the time logic, but something that would allude or click into the player's brain that, oh my god, Kalos was the first one to do this. Regardless, let's focus more on the war, because it's at this point that you two start to become main players in this war, household names for all of Kalos to remember. Before you guys are able to properly enlist yourselves, you and AZ start to train against each other, since you two are some of the strongest trainers that you both know throughout the region. As you guys are training against each other, AZ keeps spouting his ideas of methods or tactics or strategies to help win the war. And while at one point they do sound very effective, you, the player, can't help but realize how awful everything your friend AZ is saying. Yes, we're going to war, but that does not mean that anybody has to like the idea that we're going to war. Your worries for him start to get stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the game. But once the time of the war starts, you guys enlist, but you two are put on a very, very special list, and you two are immediately made generals for the war. Considering, as we've already stated, your guys' amazing battle skills, you are put at the seat of generals, leading your own squadrons and everything like that. It is at this point that the war actually starts. You guys start getting more intel about the opposite team, what region it is specifically. Maybe it's Paldea, or maybe it's a neighboring region that we just have not seen yet. Who knows? But that's besides the point. That's not important. What's important is that you start getting a little sidetracked in your mind, just constantly being taken up by the whole idea that this is horrible. This shouldn't even be a thing. I hate this. I hate absolutely every bit of this. Meanwhile, you're watching AZ writhe and love every second of this. And it's really, really, really disturbing starting to see as his best friend. Seeing this innocent little kid who couldn't even fend for himself in a forest at the beginning of the game now enjoy dealing with this war, you start to realize that you may be losing the friend you grew up with and knew. As time goes on, you two start to talk less and less and less. And then one day, AZ gets a box in the mail and it contains his dead Floette. It is at this point in the game which AZ just loses his mind. The AZ you once knew as a bright and inspiring person is now a defeated and angry and bitter person. But the news doesn't end there for AZ, because after AZ collects himself as best as he can, they tell AZ that he is now appointed to the role of King of Kalos. You try your best to comfort him, as you haven't spoken to him in a while, so you thought, hey, maybe the comfort of a best friend who he's known all of his life will be able to help him and bring him back to his spirits. Because even though he's turning into an AZ that you may not be familiar with, he is still your friend at the end of the day. But unfortunately, your motivation is not what he needed. For the first time in your guys' friendship, AZ just goes off on you, unloading everything, just saying all these horrible things to you. As you can tell at this point, he has finally just lost it. AZ storms out of the tent that you two are in and immediately gets to work to creating the ultimate weapon and unveiling the events that we all know now today as the ultimate weapon and the end of the Kalos War. It's not until he actually ends the war, killing millions and millions of lives, that not only he gets abandoned by his Floette, but also is left to wander the earth eternally. Now, I fully understand that there is no way in any amount of years that Game Freak would ever even come close to making a game like this, but I just genuinely believe that the story of AZ, or just the story of the war in general, could be one of, if not the most heart-tugging and heartbreaking stories that Pokemon could ever bring to the franchise. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of this video. I know that it was rather extremely dark in comparison to a lot of the other videos that I may make, or even just Pokemon things that I may talk about, but I genuinely have had this thought in my mind for a good while now as to what a Legends Kalos game could have looked like, and I'm really happy to just get it out there once and for all on the internet. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please be sure to go ahead and leave a like down below and comment down below your thoughts. Did you guys like the story, or did you guys absolutely hate it? Or if there are some things you would change, I'm genuinely really curious as to what you guys think about the story that I've crafted up for this game. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Egan Media, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy.